call to order of the East Grand Forks City Council for Tuesday, November 5th. Would the city clerk please call roll?
Mayor Steve Gander, Council President Mark Olstead, Council Vice President Chad Grassel.
Here.
Council members Clarence Vetter.
Here.
Dale Helms.
Here.
Tim Riopel.
Here.
Tim Johnson.
Here.
Mark Demers.
Present.
The determination of a quorum. Let's stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open forum and opportunity for members of the public to address City Council on items not on the current agenda. Items requiring City Council action may be deferred to staff or boards and commissions for research and future council agendas if appropriate. If you would like to address the City Council, please come up to the podium. Seeing none. Approval of the minutes for October 15th City Council meeting, October 22nd special meeting, October 22nd work session, and the October 22nd closed session minutes summary. Moved by Demers.
Second.
Second by Riopel. Roll call, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Grassel.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Scheduled bid lettings, none. Scheduled public hearings, none. Consent agenda. Items under the consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, City Council may request individual items be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion or actions if they choose. Would any council member like any items pulled? Mr. Helms.
Number 9, please.
Number 9. Anybody else? So can I get a motion on 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12?
So moved.
Mr. Demers.
Second.
Second by Riopel. Roll call, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Grassel.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Okay, back to 9. Consider approving the fireworks pyrotechnic special effects permit for RES Specialty Pyrotechnics Incorporated for the Hazaddle event taking place on Sunday, November 24th, 2019, starting around 7 p.m., contingent upon approval of the launch site. Moved by Mr. Vetter, second by Mr. Demers. Any discussion? Mr. Helms?
I just have a question on the contingent upon the site. Who is the one that's going to decide on that then?
So we received the application and they submitted a site where they would like to launch from. When we get these applications, I submit them to the fire department, make sure that the person is certified with the fire marshal, the state fire marshal, and that they're aware of the site. There is a question about they wanted to shoot off between the Sorley and the train bridge, and the fire department has some questions about that, especially with the fallout more than likely going across the train bridge. And I'm putting them in contact with each other so they can discuss that. And then once it's determined where it can be, as long as you guys give us the go-ahead, once the fire department gives me the okay, then we can issue the permit.
Okay, I was just curious as to who is deciding that, so I'm fine with it.
All right, roll call.
Johnson?
Yes.
Grassel?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Vetter?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riopel?
Yes.
All right. Acknowledge receipts and reports, officers, boards and commissions. Regular minute meetings of Water, Light, Power, and Building Commission for October 2nd, 2019. Communications, none. Old business, none. New business. Number 14, consider adopting resolution number 191174, ordering the improvement and preparations for plans and specifications for the 2020 city project number 1, safe routes to school sidewalks to be added on 13th Street Southeast and 20th Avenue Southeast. Moved by Demers.
Second.
Second by Riopel. Any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
Grassel?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Vetter?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riopel?
Yes.
Number 15, consider adoption resolution of 191175, repealing resolution 160549, which authorized the imposition of $3,000 per lot surcharge for the city lots initiated by a realtor.
Move.
Who was that?
Oops.
Moved by Mr. Helms, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Riepel. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Grassel?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Vetter?
No.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Number 16, consider adopting resolution 191176, accepting and awarding the bid for the 2019 assessment job number 1, curb, gutter, and paving for the total construction cost of $412,147.45.
Move.
Moved by Riepel.
Second.
Second by Mr. Vetter. Any discussion? Mr. Emery.
Just so I guess council's aware, I have been in communication with Randy Bushy as early as this morning. As you are all aware, when we held the assessment hearing last week, no one showed up, none of the property owners showed up. So, you know, by not showing up, basically they waived their right to appeal the assessments. But Randy's been in communication. He's had concern. He is the one that originally petitioned for this project, but I guess given the situation that all the farmers have been under, Randy's had concern with the project moving forward. So I see that he actually just walked in. So I'd asked Randy if you know, if there were concerns that he come to the meeting tonight, because, you know, potentially the project was going to be moving forward. So I guess with your permission, maybe now would be time to hear from Randy if.
Mr. Bush, if you just come up and state your name and at the podium, please.
Randy Bushy with the A&L Potato Company. You know, due to the, I'll use the word catastrophic weather event that we had this year, our complex stores 600 semi-loads of potatoes. We have like a dozen semi-loads in storage. We lost 95% of the crop in the ground that was under commitment to come into us, either between our own growing sources or our partnership farms. We are able to pick up a little bit of business, and you know, we'll be able to muster through this year, but it's just not a really great time to go commit ourselves to an additional tax burden or assessment burden on the street. I mean, obviously we'd love to have the concrete street. You know, it ain't gonna make it less difficult to do business in the spring of the year, but just at this point in time, you know, would like to recess it for a year or two and revisit the topic, you know. And, you know, from a perspective of work going on, you know, the bid was considerably, I guess, more than I thought it was going to be. And maybe in a year or two, the bids might even be cheaper than they are today, you know, because I don't think I'm the only guy suffering these type of events. You know, I know our next door neighbor, they left 1,200 acres in the ground of their own production. So, I mean, most of us will pretty much finish up our shipping window in the early part of 20. You know, and normally we should go into the 5th or 6th month of 20. So I appreciate taking the time, and like you said, I was the guy that rang the bell to get the street moving along, but I sure as hell didn't expect to see the type of devastation that we had here. So sorry about the language there. Any questions? And it's Mark's fault, he jinxed me.
Yeah. Thanks for Randy for coming and talking to us. We all understand kind of the strain that everybody's in. My only question is, like, what would have happened if this would have happened next year?
Well, and it's really way too late to unring the bell. I mean, you'd figure out ways around it. I mean, you know, it's like anything else. You know, the challenge gets to be anybody, you know, like our position, we're probably going to take about an $800,000 loss in 2019 because of the weather event. I mean, I don't know. You know, if we have too many of them events, we don't have to worry about it at all. Somebody else.
I'm just saying, like, say we would have went through this, you would have got the road built and everything. I'm not saying like compounding.
Well,
you know, what would have happened if we would have done
to answer your
this?
question, Mark, in 2001 we put the street in on on 7th, and we've never missed a beat paying that since 2001 until today. So, I mean, what's the odds of getting catastrophic weather like we get? You know, I don't know.
I guess one of my thoughts is, and kind of not, I don't want to put, once this goes in, this wouldn't start getting assessed until
2021.
2021.
Yep.
I'm just wondering, I mean, understandably, you're going to go through your losses this year, hopefully be able to get close to even again, and then in 2021, are you going to be at a spot where...
The problem with this event is this is not a single year event. This is going to, you know, the contract volume that we had with our growers for seed for 2020, that product never got harvested either. So we're going to be out on the street trying to find open market seed potatoes that are between 25 and 30 bucks a hundred. Your cost per acre to grow potatoes in 2020 is probably going to edge up somewhere around 700 bucks an acre just for the seed. Typically it should be about 250 to 300. So you're doubling your cost of production, and that just relates back to the raw product cost increases a couple of bucks a hundred. You're going to have to plan very conservatively. You know, you're not going to want to stretch, you know, with them elevated expenses into the crop. We already know that 2020 is going to be a very tight scenario. You incurred losses in 19, you're going to have meager crop in 20 because of, you know, well, look around. I mean, the fields ain't worked up. It's considerably a difficult environment out there. This is a 5-year deal. This will take 5 years for us to heal up from the damages that are going to be caused from this single event.
You talked to any of the other petitioners?
What?
Have you talked to any of the other petitioners? Because there was
I talked to Jeff, which is the guy across the grain, Perling Grain, which is the other 48% of the street, and he's like, whatever. You know, he says, we get it, you know. You know, we've all managed to get by without a concrete street for the last 20 years that I've been there, you know. So, you know, he's like, it's got to be good for you as well as me, you know. And he's a little concerned. They lost a lot of wheat crop too, you know. You go west of town, and that's where the majority of his production comes from, you know, from here to Minot, and there's tons and tons of fields still standing to this day. So, you know, this is not just a little pocket that hit my potato field. I mean, you know, our grower commitments are basically here to Baku, North Dakota, which is north of Cavalier, and every single farm unit that we were involved with got damaged, you know. So, and you know, you look at it nationwide, I mean, it's a huge weather event that's causing a lot of grief in central United States, you know. So the market is strong, but you got to have something to sell. That's the challenge we're up against. Anything else, guys?
Mr. Gander?
You know, based upon timelines and the time where a person was supposed to register their disagreement with the project, that window closed, and we'd have every legal right to go ahead and nobody could dispute it.
Yep.
But then there's the right thing to do, and that is, are we partnering with our farm businesses? Are we partnering with our farmers, or are we just belligerent and going off in our own way? And I feel pretty strongly, and I hope we all do, that we're going to wait until you're ready. If it's a 1, 2, 3 year lag, I mean, this was to serve you and the neighborhood there, and you brought it, and that was a good thing. But then the conditions changed, big time changed, and they were out of your control. And I think the right thing to do would be to let this simmer until such time as you say, yep, we're good to go, let's get her done. And I think probably that's common sense for all of us.
Well, and you know, Mark touched on this topic when it was presented in the first place is the stability of the landowners to pay the tax roll that's there and things of that nature. And you know what, to be very honest with you, that's why I'm here. I just don't need that burden at this point in time. And you guys wouldn't be very happy if the taxes weren't paid, because I assume, if it ain't paid, then they come back and knock on your doorstep for payment. So, obviously, it would be assessed against whoever owns the building, but, it's just not a situation anybody really wants to get into, and you're not talking a little bit of money. It's $22,000 a year is my guesstimate, somewhere in there, and the one thing, at the time we had already kind of, felt that it was the right time to do it. We were just struggling with the street over there. We still have 2 years of assessments left on 7th, so, and I think that's done in 23, so I would be doubling up. I'd have $40,000 of taxes for them next 2 years, so at the time I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Now it's starting to be a little bigger deal, if I had a crystal ball, guys, I'd just let the street go in and it's all going to work out perfect, but I don't have that crystal ball, and to deal with a little bit of a mud street is going to be probably a more prudent thing to do than spend some money that you're probably not going to have. So I don't want to have all you guys mad at me for the other reason, What do you think, Steve? Got anything to add to this?
No, again, I was in the process of kind of letting the council know, where you're at, what our discussions have been. So I guess appreciate you showing up and,
And I did reach out to Steve prior to the meeting to put up an obstruction, and I did voice my concerns at that point in time. And to be very honest, I was out in the field still trying to get some of the product out of the ground, and that's why I wasn't able to get to that meeting. But I had reached out to Steve prior to it, and when I did get back into town, I called Steve and I said, "Hey, is it 7 o'clock?" No, it was 5 o'clock. So I'm always stylishly late. Today I was pretty good. I was only 2 minutes late. What A&L stands for, always late. So, but all right. Anything else, guys?
Anything else? Thank you. Roll call, please.
Johnson.
No.
Grassel.
No.
DeBurs.
Abstain.
Vetter.
no.
Helms.
No.
Riepel.
No.
Motion fails.
Motion fails is right. Sorry. Number 17, consider approving arena agreement between the City of East Grand Forks and Independent School District 595 for the use of the Civic Center, VFW Memorial, Blue Line Club arenas for the school year of 2019-2020.
Move.
Moved by Riepel,
Second.
second by Helms. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Grassel.
Yes.
DeMers.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Number 18, consider approving new on-sale intoxicating weekday and weekend Sunday liquor application for the Spud Junior LLC located at 302 Demers Avenue, East Grand Forks, Minnesota, 56721, contingent upon the administration office receiving the permit fees. Moved by Johnson.
Second.
Second by Riepel. Any questions? Mr. Helms.
Thank you. I think I asked this question before, but we're okay on the liquor license as far as this goes? It's kind of like what we did for the movie theater and stuff, correctly?
This is tied to a restaurant, so it actually does not count against the number of liquor because we can have up to 7 liquor licenses that are like a standalone bar. This is a bar restaurant, so this doesn't count against them. And he no longer has interest in any other businesses in town.
the answer is yes,
So
we're okay.
it's just this business.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Roll call, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Grassel.
Yes.
DeBurs.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes.
All All right, claims. Consider authorizing city administrator, clerk, treasurer to issue payments of recommended bills and payroll.
Move.
Moved by Johnson.
Second.
Second by Vetter. Roll call, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
Grassel?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Vetter?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor Gander.
The only thing I would come back around to is our ag situation. Did have a nice visit here last week with Governor Walz and Ag Commissioner Peterson and others of the staff from St. Paul and the governor's office. And they have made a commitment to return when times are better. But I think also during this time, we as city have a huge vested interest to make sure that our farmers and our ag businesses have every access to every kind of help that they can get. And so I'm committed to continuing the dialogue, whether it's with the governor's office, whether it's with our senator representative, whatever we have to do. Let's really see this through. And thank goodness the governor knows when he was here, he knows this is not a 1 month crisis. This is not a one harvest crisis. He sees it as it's going to go into planting in the spring. And it's a financial crisis also. If you did not bring in a crop to pay off your operating line of credit, you may or may not be creditworthy going into planting next year. And if we have good quality farmers in that predicament, that this came upon them from no act of their own, we're going to have to figure out a way to help get them through that. And I say that's at the state level. And federal and state, whatever needs to happen there, because it's that important. It's that important to the region economically. It's that important for our nation as far as food supply. And whatever we have to do to see that through, I really do challenge us to do it. And they want to do it. Again, the governor understands it. It's a year-long commitment and probably beyond that. And it might be, you heard one of their advisors say they may have some money for some infrastructure going in. Seemed to hint that maybe we could tile some fields with dollars to pull off some moisture, whatever it's going to take to really set a long-term solution to this. If we're going to have these wet periods and wet cycles more prevalent than ever before, we're just going to have to plan for it. You heard him say, you know, how many times can we have a 500-year rain event in a 10-year span, right? That's just silly. If the trend is more wet, we're going to have to just account for it and mitigate it versus trying to always just mop it up. So let's work together as a city with our elected officials at St. Paul, along with federal, and try to get this to work. Thanks.
Mr. Vetter?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Mr. Helms?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Riepel?
Nothing.
Mr. Johnson?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Mr. Demers?
Just to publicly apologize for missing the hearing yesterday. It was my own fault. I had it written in for today, so I apologize to council and those who took the time out of their schedule on Mondays to come. So, thank you.
I was at the meeting last night, and it's interesting. I've lived here my whole entire life, and there were some things that I didn't know about. The history that went on about that little stretch of road that I would even call from Luigi's to 220 where Todd's trailer is, and it was rather eye-opening. So it was interesting to listen to those people, the concerned people out there, talk about the history in the past, and it was very informative. So, Mr. Murphy.
I only have one thing. Unfortunately, I do need to. I should let the council know that Fire Chief Larson has had a medical issue, and he will be out indefinitely. So I know he currently is not out and about. So if you would like to send any well wishes or whatever, certainly get a hold of me. I can get you in touch with him.
Mr. Gallstead?
Other than I will not be in the office on Friday or Monday morning, I have nothing to report.
Mr. Emery?
I have nothing else to report.
Department heads? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Demers?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
Remember, people that